Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to a little live version of The Slice here during Roland Garros. It is quarterfinal time. We all know that. It's basically the business end of the tournament where all the big matches are happening, like Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic later today, which I've already previewed. But this is a preview of the other matchups in the men's quarterfinals. We got just great matchups and some unexpected people in the finals or the quarterfinals. So let's get into who they are. Let's get into the odds of them winning, and then I'll make my predictions of who I think we will see in these semifinals. So thanks for being here, and let's get stuck in to this episode of The Slice presented by PointsBet Canada. Let's get into it.
Oh, he's playing a collectively.
She's been too good, too often.
Oh, it's out to this world.
How's that for quality on clay?
Well, welcome to the show, people. If you're joining us live and you're snapping in here, welcome. That's pretty, no notice to this going live. It's just all we have time for this morning before we do a watch along of Leila Annie Fernandez on the Canadian tennis stream. And then we just get into the matches of the day, which, like I said, are epic. It's the business end of the tournament, and this is when all the big matches are happening. I got back, if you didn't know, I got back from Paris last week, or on the weekend. I was there at Roland Garros on the grounds. I did a show of the Sasha and Stephen show with friend of the show, Sasha Osmo. We broke down the Rafa and Novak match, and we talked about a lot of other things. So before we get any deeper into it, this show is presented by PointsBet Canada. So if you're in Ontario and you're someone who bets on tennis, sign up for PointsBet Canada. They're our sponsors for this week. And we're going to be taking a look at the odds on the 4 matchups in the men's quarterfinals today. And they're pretty interesting, in my opinion. But before we do that, here is the quarterfinals. So we got Djokovic versus Nadal, Zverev versus Alcaraz, Casper Ruud versus Holger Roon. Friend of the show, Holger Roon, not TSITSIPAS. So that's a huge deal, and we're going to talk about that. And then on the bottom, we got Rublev versus Marin Cilic instead of Daniil Medvedev, which a lot of people could have seen coming, but after Daniil Medvedev's form over Kecmanovic, where he destroyed him, we thought maybe Medvedev's going to make a little run here, but it does make sense that Cilic could beat him because he's a great player, but it's a little surprising to me that it was that easy straight sets for him. So welcome to the show, people. First things first, let's get into, I guess, what happened with Stefanos Tsitsipas. So Stefanos Tsitsipas, I watched the match. Friend of the show, Holger Roon, we've been talking about him forever here on the channel. We did an interview with him when he was ranked like 800 in the world. We did an interview with him at the beginning of this year. He told me his goal was to make the top 25 by the end of 2022. At the time of the interview, he was ranked about 106 in the world. So he actually had a pretty slow start to the year, lost first round to Australian Open, didn't perform super well in the hard courts there. And then coming to this clay swing, he's just really found his form. And it makes total sense. Clay is his favorite surface. He's been really dominant on there, especially in the juniors. But he came out and he's done more than anyone. And if Carlos Alcaraz wasn't the 19-year-old that everyone talks about, Holger Roon would be the biggest young star in tennis. So right now he's the second biggest young star in tennis. But he beat Alexander Zverev in Munich to win that title, on the way to winning that title, his first ever ATP title. And he just beat Stefanos Tsitsipas. Holger Roon's game is super solid both wings. He's a lot bigger than he looks on TV. It was what I realized. I've seen him in person, watched him practice, met his mom, met him. And he's a lot bigger and stronger than he looks on TV. He's like probably 6'2", and he's got a massive solid backhand, and he can hurt anyone with it. And he's got lots of pop on his forehand. He's a great mover, and his serve kind of does more damage than it looks like it would, again, on TV. I don't know why that is. But Steph was just not able to find his best level. He wasn't able to find the level that he had last year. Kind of throughout this tournament, he struggled. And unfortunately, that's the case for him in 2022. After he won Monte Carlo, I said, look out, he's going to start warming up. And for the French Open. And after the draw came out, the route he had to the final was so clear with Djokovic, Nadal, and Alcaraz being on the other side of the draw. It's pretty amazing to me that he actually went out this early. It makes sense. You have all the pressure on you when you're the top favorite on the bottom half to get to the final. And I do think it is harder to play against someone younger than you than people bring up. We don't really talk about it maybe as much, but Stefanos Tsitsipas is one of the younger guys on tour. Obviously, he's been there for a while, trying to break through. Should have won the Roland Garros last year, up 2-0. So he feels like he has a lot to prove. But then now he's playing young guys like Alcaraz and Roon, and they're even younger. So they have nothing to lose, and he has everything to lose when playing them. And that is a big deal. And it shows how amazing it is that their big three, again, have been able to do this, play against younger players with lots to lose, and just be able to find ways to do it all the time. But Stefanos wasn't able to do it yesterday. He was missing too many returns, wasn't solid on his backhand. And Roon played a great match, super, super intense, didn't drop his level. And yeah, I was surprised to see Roon come out of that because I thought Tsitsipas would find a way. But alas, he has not found a way. So these are our current setups right here. And if you missed it already, if you're just joining us, yeah, Djokovic and Nadal. I've already previewed that, so go watch my other video. That's a big one. We got Zverev versus Alcaraz. Zverev-Alcaraz is an amazing matchup. I think people are not giving Zverev enough credit or respect in this matchup. He can definitely beat Alcaraz. The time they played in Madrid, like we all talked about, he was up till 5 a.m. the night before. Is not a very good depiction of what he's able to do. But Alcaraz is the favorite, and makes sense because he won Madrid, he won Barcelona, and he won Miami. And that's a lot better than Zverev has done in the last 3 months. So Alcaraz is the favorite, but there's almost now Zverev has pressure on him. But since people are more expecting Alcaraz to win, I think almost more pressure is on Alcaraz. And we almost saw him choke out of the tournament earlier on because of that pressure. So Zverev coming into this match might be able to play a little freer without the pressure of like the expectation to win. If he's totally abandoned the fact that he's, should be further ahead in his career based on his own standards and our expectations than Carlos right now. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how free both these guys play. We've seen them both get tight now and not play their best. We've become very accustomed to that with Zverev, and we've seen a little bit of that from Carlos here at this tournament. So that'll be super interesting. Let's take a look at the odds. It's a big one. So we got, like I said, Zverev and Alcaraz on top. They actually are giving 4.25 times your money to Alcaraz to beat, or to Zverev to beat Alcaraz, and only 1.24 odds for Carlos to win. So they have Carlos as the pretty big favorite. Actually, the biggest favorite out of any of the 4 men's quarterfinals, which I think is a little scandalous. Like, that is a pretty good value if you're going to bet on Zverev to win and kind of pose the upset, even though he's been at this stage of a tournament more than Alcaraz has at a Grand Slam. I mean, so that's pretty, that's interesting. So they're putting that Carlos that far ahead. That's a lot of guts and a lot of like pressure on Alcaraz and a lot of expectation. But is he going to live up to it? That's up for us to see. Djokovic and Nadal has changed a little bit since yesterday. 2.95 for Nadal, 1.42 for Djokovic. Tight match between two of the GOATs. It's just incredible. And then we got Casper Ruud versus Holger Rune. Casper Ruud versus Holger Rune. Incredibly close names, incredibly close game styles. And this matchup is awesome. They've played a few times before. I think the last 2 times I've seen, I know Casper won. Casper destroyed Holger last year, I think, in Monte Carlo on the clay. And then I think they also played again this year on Monte Carlo, and that was a lot closer. I think it was like 7-6, 7-5. Holger had his chances. So Casper, I watched him win Geneva. Super good player. You kind of know what you're getting with Casper. And he can play super good on clay. He's amped up the speed and the spin and the pop on his forehand. His serve's gotten better. So he's just an all-round absolute elite pro. He moves like a cat on the court with super quiet feet, super balanced at all times. So I think Ruud is definitely the favorite here. But again, Roon, if he can get stuck in and frustrate Ruud and make him miss, he can win this for sure. But I expect Ruud, man, that's a problem. Casper Ruud, the ghost, to stay up on the baseline and dictate more than Roon. And Casper can just go. He's fine going deep into rallies. He's super solid on both wings. Weaker side is a backhand, but he's able to just get stuck into rallies and probably miss less than Tsitsipas. But Holger Rune's able to come forward. He's able to hit through balls. He's able to attack as well. So just going to be a super interesting match. And I'm very, very excited for it. As we showed earlier, they got they're only giving 2.65 for Holger to win and 1.5 for Ruud to win. So I don't know if there's that much in it. So then we got to the last match, Andrei Rublev at 1.65 versus Marin Cilic at 2.25. And if you just saw, like I did, Cilic, I didn't get to watch this, it was too late last night. Cilic beat Medvedev the way he did. You gotta look at Cilic, he's won a Grand Slam before. He's the only Grand Slam winner on the bottom half of the draw, which is crazy. You gotta maybe like his chances to get through this and make it to the final, and then maybe try and get another slam. Or Rublev, who's already won a title on clay, this could be his opportunity to get to a slam final, because he could beat Cilic, and then he'd have to beat, either. Why can't I imagine this right now? Then he'd either have to beat Roon or Ruud, which I would almost put, I would almost put Rublev as the favorite there. So interesting times for Rublev. I didn't expect for him on the clay to have his first chance at getting to a major final. And then you never know what can happen. So this is very, very interesting stuff. Again, if you haven't seen the quarterfinals, let's just take one last look at them. It seems now like with Tsitsipas out at the bottom, the final is almost happening. A lot of people are saying the final is happening today. Djokovic versus Nadal. Whoever wins that is going to have a massive, massive advantage to win this title, because people forget Carlos Alcaraz is 19. He's never been this far in a title or in a slam. So expecting him to beat Djokovic or Nadal in the semifinal, and even Zverev now, just expecting that or like thinking he has a really good chance to do that is pretty insane. I think we could pump the brakes a little bit on it. I think he definitely has a chance to beat those guys, as he just beat them both in Madrid. But it's a different animal doing it at a slam. We all know that, over 5 sets. And if that happened, it would blow my mind in a lot of ways. But everything Carlos has done this year has blown my mind. So we're used to it. So anyways, that's a look at the quarterfinal matchups. If I had to predict who's going through, I already predicted Djokovic in 3 or 4 over Nadal. Sorry, Nadal fans. It's not like I don't love Nadal, but from what I've seen, I think Djokovic has more left in him right now than Nadal. And watch my video to see why I think that. Zverev versus Alcaraz. I will go with Alcaraz, but I would not be shocked if Zverev wins. Zverev, he's been a top 5 player for the last 4 or 5 years. He can ball. He can play well in clay. And I think the pressure is going to play a big role in this match. We'll have to wait and see to find out how it does. And then we got Casper Ruud versus Holger Rune. I will take Casper Ruud as, he's a more veteran player. He's a better player right now, I think, in their career. And I think he has less, but, he hasn't had the best clay season either. So it could upset alert, but I'm taking Ruud. And then I'm taking Rublev over Cilic. I think Rublev's played great. I've liked what I've seen from him so far. And I don't know. That's just who I'm feeling. So I'm taking Djokovic, Alcaraz, Ruud versus Rublev to make the semifinals. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, and we will discuss down there. But thank you guys for being here. As always, just make sure if you're in Ontario and you want to bet on the tennis on these matches, sign up for PointsBet. They're our presenting sponsor. We really appreciate their work. And also, you can grab yourself a Go Sport bag for 10% off, link below, and try Peak Tennis mental training app. Download it with the link below to just get better at tennis and be stronger on court. They're going to need it at this stage of the tournament. All the players will. Mental strength, and you need it too. So anyways, thanks for being here, guys. Like this video, subscribe, and let's all watch the quarterfinals today and tomorrow. It's amazing. I can't wait to see what happens and report back to you guys and discuss with our community. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time here on The Slice.
Oh, he's playing a collective.
He's been too good, too often.
Oh, it's out to this world.
How's that for quality on play?